and ready, and that you have begun to make really good use of your day. Welcome to Newspaper Reviews and Analysis. I hope that you are beginning to tighten things up because in about 2 weeks, we are going to go right into the Christmas season, the pressure from financial management to family and to all that's going on. So I hope that you are looking after yourself. The Hamatan is also here. I hope you are also drinking a lot of water and staying hydrated. Please try to put on some lotion or some sort of oil to avoid looking ashy out there. Okay, make sure you are looking your best. I mean, that's the least you can do at this point in time. Anyways, welcome to the reviews. We are looking at human rights abuse in the nation. Dele Farodimi has been arrested by the government for reasons. There are too many reasons why he has been held, but there are no legit reasons as to why he's been held. But from what we know, anybody who is speaking against anything that's happening in this country right now is at a very high risk of being arrested and, of course, alleged with some offense. So we are seeing a great height of human rights abuse in the country at the moment. We are seeing disagreements from different sects and different states in the government about the new tax reform bills that, the presidency is very, very hell-bent on. And there are lots of arguments to it. So we're going to look at the headlines and then we're going to try to tackle some of these very crucial matters that have cropped up. We seem to have a new one every day. Just yesterday we dealt with yesterday's side of the story, and today we have even newer ones to handle. So with me this morning to talk about these issues is Dr. Chudi Emelu. He is a public affairs analyst and of course a very good friend of mine too. Welcome, Doc.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Welcome, sir. How are you feeling about all the recent updates in the political scene?
Well, come see, come sir.
Oh dear. Is there any particular one that that has gotten your attention in the past week, perhaps?
There are lots of it. You just mentioned the abduction or arrest, depending on the side.
Yes, they're calling it a kidnap or an abduction.
Of the fiery Dele Farodimi.
That is right.
Is obviously an abuse of powers. Whatever offense is suspected or alleged to have committed. If it's obviously a civil matter, if it's a defamation, as we're being made to understand, defamation is a civil matter. So I don't see the need for that Gestapo approach to such. It just shows the weakness of some of our institutions in our. We are supposed to be in a democracy, isn't it? And this kind of things are not supposed to happen in a democracy. It's unfortunate.
What I'm worried about is why are we seeing an increasing display of this particular behavior in this particular administration? Why does it seem like anybody who has anything to say? Because just the week before this one, we dealt with Shoyombo. Fisayo, for revealing details about his investigations about the Port Harcourt refinery and some of his findings. And we dealt with this the week before. And then we have another journalist whom have written literary findings of his own investigations, and it's one of the reasons why he's in his position at this time. So we're wondering if there's a reason why there's an increase in these kinds of abuse at this time in the country.
I don't think there's any particular reason. It just happens.
It just happens.
The administration is not under any threat apart from the terrible economic situation we find ourselves, and maybe the gate watchers for the government are a bit jittery because the citizens are not happy, the economy is not looking good.
But wouldn't it be easier to make the people happy than cut through all these other corners.
Yeah,
of trying
usually
to-
the things the government doesn't, from the economic standpoint, they don't have much options apart from giving them, apart from affecting the problem with our elite. They are not ready to sacrifice their own comfort. Yeah, if you bring down the cost of governance, you can free up some funds. But those things that have to deal with their personal luxury, they don't want to touch it. So we're now left with the option of borrowing money and taxing the hell out of the citizens.
Goodness, the tax. Anyways, I also wanted to ask you if you knew that the central bank was planning to remove the 1,000 naira note in circulation.
Well, I don't think all these things are. You don't even need any official announcement. If you remember in the 80s or what, it has become a tradition now. Normally, if you can easily tell when somebody goes to a bank, it comes with Crips new minty notes. You don't see much of that these days.
Okay.
So if you want to withdraw the 1,000 naira, all you need to do is, as long as immediately 1,000 naira note gets into the bank coffers,
You lock it up.
You lock it up and issue the new ones. So these things are unnecessary. I don't understand all this.
Okay, so this time around they want it completely gone. They want it completely gone. What do you think? It doesn't have any effect on the economy if the highest denomination, because I mean, would the price of fuel drop if that happens?
I don't think there's inflation. There's obvious inflation. So whether you withdraw the 1,000, in fact, I'm even predicting that we're going to have, if the inflationary trend continues, we're going to have even a 5,000 naira note on a 10,000 naira note. The way the naira is going, if nothing drastic is done to stem the tide.
Okay, I would love to hear more on how that would happen. Why? Could you explain this phenomenon to us?
When your currency is losing value, you need more naira. I think the late Dim Ojukwu succinctly put it one day that there was a time he said that you needed a handful of money to buy a basket full of goods, but now you seem to need a basket full of money to buy a handful of goods.
Oh dear.
I think it's even worse than that today.
And he wasn't even present now.
Yeah, I remember that statement.
I'm sure when he said that was what we now refer to as the good old days.
Yeah, the good old days, and he was complaining.
That's quite unfortunate. All right, let's go straight to the papers. Let's see if we can grab a couple of stories. Dr. Chudi Emelu, the phone lines are open just in case you want to join us this morning on these conversations. You can call 0706 048 5853. Also, you can call 0915 570-8347. We're also live on YouTube. Please join us, subscribe, like, and share. It's High Voltage News. We are on there live. You can comment, be a part of what we are doing. Let's move straight to the Premium Times this morning. Investigation, dubious defense contract, how fugitives, arms, and brokers spent Nigeria's billions. All right, these billions of ours never finishes. Everybody is spending it. It seems we never run out of billions for people to embezzle and to to play around with. We have so much billions in our hands. Anyways, speaking of bills, tax bills, Tinubu directs Ministry of Justice to work with NAS to address concerns. So they're not backing down.
No, they are not.
They're not backing down. But what about all the agitation from the north, all the disgruntle from the north?
Well, it's not just the north that should be concerned. Even some states in the southeast should also be concerned. But personally, I support
You support the bill?
I support the tax bill. I think our governors need to be a bit more creative and imaginative and stop waiting for handouts from the Federation account. And it's also a reflection of the unanswered questions of our existence as a nation, the national question, federalism. Because basically all this noise you're hearing from the north has to do with what I call the anticipated loss of revenue if this bill goes through.
Anticipated.
Let me give you a background.
Please do.
Under the current tax sharing formula,
That is what we have.
What we have now. Yeah, the equality of states is 50%, population is 30%, and derivation is 20%. So using that formula,
the chart, yes.
Using that chart, I'll just give an example of some states. You now see that a state like Bayelsa contributes 7.12 billion to the VAT purse,
Okay.
and receives 5.58 billion. So they contribute more and receive less. It's not always like that for most southern states. Imo contributes 235.4 million, not billion, million.
Okay.
And it's receiving in billions. It receives 6.01 billion.
This is what we have now. This is what is working now.
That's what's working now.
Okay, okay.
Katsina contributes 1.68 billion and receives 7.27 billion. Now let me go down to some states that will gain. Rivers contributes 70.5 billion and receives 15.54 billion. Then Lagos contributes 249.7 billion and receives 40.22 billion. So Lagos is really shortchanged under this.
Yes, Rivers as well from your statistics.
This just so the proposed new sharing formula is that equality of states will now take 20%, population will take 20%, then derivation 60%.
I've seen
so
this.
So you can now understand why some of those states that contribute little and contribute in millions are now receiving billions from the VAT.
Do we have like a signature of, the same way you broke down the first earnings? Do we have anything like that on the current sharing system? Do we have anything that we could use? I like the way you explained the first part.
Yeah, it's from all this. If you go to the NBS, National Bureau of Statistics.
Okay, it's all there. Okay, because from the look of things, apparently everybody is going to get what they sow this time around.
Yeah.
Could that be why the Northerners are very, very offended?
It's not all Northerners. I'll call it unenlightened North. The enlightened ones know that, in fact, the North is even more endowed than the South. We have this false belief that the North are parasites. Well, most of our food stuff comes from the North. Most of the solid minerals, most of the solid minerals, mineral assets of this country are in the North.
That's right.
Then if they have land for agriculture, they normally use that this overflogged excuse of Niger State, which is about bigger than Holland.
That's right.
Yeah, Holland makes more money from milk than oil, dairy products than oil.
Apparently.
Yeah, and Niger State is bigger than Holland. So just Niger State alone, if well harnessed or whatever, can feed the entire West Africa if we know. Then you can imagine all the other states in the north if they go into production and stop relying on handouts from the Federation.
They have relied on these handouts for so long. I guess that is why it's really uncomfortable for them to break the circle of dependence. But I guess if the government wins on this one, I'm more looking at the states who are giving more to the nation. I'm hoping that for the first time they get what they truly deserve.
Well, I think it's unfortunate it's a bit politicized, but it's not all Northerners that are. For instance, Senator Barrow is for the tax reform.
Oh yes, I've seen.
Then Aline Dumes and the Governor Zulum are still playing populist politics.
Zulum has even dropped a threat to the federal government where he said there will be consequences if the FG goes ahead to implement the bill. But one can see why they would all feel that way. But I believe if it's put in place and everybody gets used to it, like we've gotten used to other policies that has been made by this administration, I guess we can all move on.
Yeah, we can move on.
Right.
It will benefit us in the long run because it also has its good aspects. I think those on the minimum wage and all this will be exempted from the income tax.
That is what the bill says. That is what the bill says.
Then our big men and whatever that earn millions more will have to make do 25%.
Oh yes, of every 100 million made.
Every 100 million whatever. So if well implemented, it's going to free up some funds for government. Another thing is, it's one thing for government to have money. It's another thing, they don't really have a good a record in when they decide on who decides the project, the major projects. As you get our money, then you now go on ego projects instead of projects that actually will impact the people. You now decide which one you feel is the most important, and at the end of the day, what you think is the most important is not the most. We don't even give a hoot about it.
When I saw that the low-income earners were exempted from some of those taxes, I for the first time, I said, okay, this might be something. And I kept thinking, maybe it's time for the bigger earners in Nigeria to pay. I don't know, but isn't 25% too much? What do you think about that
No,
number?
it's not.
It's not.
If you go to the Western countries, you pay tax as much as 45%.
45%.
Yeah.
All right. You can join us this morning on this conversation. You can drop your comments or contributions to any of the headlines that you have heard us talk about this morning, or any that you've come about too. Of course, if you also need verifications on some stories that you've heard and you're trying to confirm their legitimacy, you can also call us here to let us know. Let's see if we can grab a few things from Daily Post, okay? Dele Farotimi, MBA, condemns lawyer's arrest. Okay, so that's coming from the Nigerian Bar Association. Tax bills, TED Fund, Naseni and others to lose special privileges, and student loan will gain funds. Okay. Okay, I don't want to become hopeful, okay, with some of these. I don't want to become hopeful. I don't want to move ahead of myself, but this doesn't sound too bad. Nigerian government should tax luxury to show up economy, says Jumo Ibrahim. Okay, that's it on the Daily Post. Let me see if we can grab a few things from the Punch, and then we go straight to the doctor and continue to find out how some of these things work. Okay, on the Punch this morning, low-income earners can withdraw total retirement savings, says Pencom. Is that good?
Well, it sounds good, but
it sounds good.
Yeah, but most things in this country, you make the announcement, then when you now go, the implementation becomes a problem. So,
ouch. Ouch. Okay, minimum wage strike. Nwifuru fumes at 3 states and the FCT being grounded. If you don't know,
the chicken is gradually coming to roost.
Is it?
Yeah, because I've always harped on just as I said, the governors, when they're in power, they determine, some of them go on ego trips. Ebonyi State is endowed with agriculture. The projects the government should have been, their biggest project should have been on agriculture, and probably rail transportation and all that. But the biggest project in Ebonyi was an international airport, a moribund one for that matter. And probably they took loans for it, and now it's time to start paying back loans. And they don't have free money. They can't even pay minimum wage.
Okay. All right. Governor Francis Nwifuru, he has been very angry, since yesterday about the strike, and he has also threatened to fire any employee who doesn't show up for 74 hours.
They don't even have enough manpower, and it's talking of firing. How many Ebonyi is number one in out of school children? So is he going to fire teachers? Where will he get more teachers from? Or is he going to fire, let's say, healthcare professionals? Some don't even know. I think it's an irresponsible statement from from a highly a high office holder. Someone that I think he should those that the technocrats should tell him, sit him down. Okay, it's not like this.
Okay.
See, I think probably he made it out of anger or whatever.
Yes, he was.
He was
very
this is
angry.
not a military regime.
He was very angry.
This is not a military regime. And the saying that you fire shows that you don't even understand the problem. They have a manpower problem in the state, and you're saying you are going to fire.
Well, wouldn't that also prove that maybe he's assuming that the people in his state value their jobs? Because, that's all they've got.
I had a friend in Ebonyi was a deputy director. I didn't believe it, but I had to make some calls to.
He didn't believe it.
To,
Why
to
would you
confirm
believe it?
No, not under. I don't know if it has improved under this current government, but immediate past government.
Okay.
Was a deputy director in Ebonyi State Civil Service, and he told me his salary was less than 80,000 naira a month.
This is a true story.
Yeah, I didn't believe it. He had to make a call and whatever. So I don't know. I hope it has improved so you can understand.
This is a true story.
Yes. A deputy director. A deputy director should be like level 16, or just one step ahead to reach the zenith in your career as a civil servant. And you are putting on a monthly salary that can buy a bag of rice.
Wow. We're really not doing good as a nation from the kinds of things that come out here in practicality, not the things that are said mostly on the media or the things that are advertised out there, but it's the practicality of living in this country that shocks one the most, EFCC secures the largest asset recovery as ex-government official forfeits 753 Abuja duplexes. They have refused to say. They have refused to tell us the name of the actual official who has this project going on. We have had stories that it is Ayo Uke. We've also had gossip of it being Emefiele connected. We've also heard that Jimo Ibrahim is also behind it. Names have come up.
You can only deal with the official statement from EFCC. They say the title deeds, they're yet to link the title deeds of the properties to any.
But is it possible to capture?
It's not possible to own 700 in a place like Abuja. Nobody knows the owner.
This is so
who has been paying the taxes, land rent, land? These people taking us for a ride.
Who? I don't know how.
Even Enugu here is like telling me I have a 7-story plaza in this town, and you confiscate and say
you don't know the owner. I don't know how but how do they, especially agencies like this, especially agencies that are expected to have a certain level of intelligence, how do they put out information?
They're intelligent actually, just that their hands are tied. They are big men. They are big men to be protected. So that's once you hear them start saying like that, just know there's an oga at the top that can.
Like I found 700 plus duplexes. It's just the only problem is I don't know who owns them. They're just lying there, taken care of by God. It's amazing the kinds of things that we get to do. But another thing I wonder is why they never consider the people's mentality when some of these headlines are put out there in the public. They don't care.
They really don't care about how you feel about it. They don't care.
This is very unraveling. This is seriously unraveling. Anyways, you can join us this morning. You can call the phone lines. You can also drop your comments on YouTube this morning. I don't know what to say. You don't know where to start. And then the problem is you look at this tomorrow, we have even fresher tea. We have hotter tea tomorrow. You would think this is it. And tomorrow they tell us something else that will blow your mind. Good morning.
Good morning, David.
Greetings to you.
Good morning, Doc. This is Charles from Nasibu.
Okay, good morning.
Talking about the 750-something duplexes, well, we have been used to hearing this kind of thing. It didn't start today. Even when I was growing up in the 80s, we were hearing of, as a little boy, I was hearing of 10%. Up to the 90s, I was hearing of 10%. By the time we got to 2000, we started hearing things like somebody will give a party is giving, and you will go there, nothing will be done, and it will be paid for. So 7 and something house duplexes is part of the whole thing. In fact, there's a book I'm reading now. For also in Nigeria was in 1948. Zik was accused of corruption. Back at 1948, the issue is burden on ACB. So it's not something that is new. We all knew what Umar Diko did in the 80s. Umar Diko is managed 4 billion naira. At that time, $4 billion was $6 billion in the 80s. So it's not new at all. What do you call it? They say analysis about again. 80 houses are recovered from her. 80 houses are recovered from this year, and it is still very fresh.
Yeah, but 80 and 700 long shots. How many houses do we have in Nigeria?
Now. That was the photo. That's a long time. So we are progressive. You understand?
We're progressive.
We are progressing. We get so. Never and some say an 8 for a woman. So she's even a woman, no. You get so we are all manner of things because our institutions are very weak. Corruption is not only in Nigeria. So let us not anything we hear in Nigeria, don't act like until we get to a man that is ready to turn things around. A disciplined man, a principled man. Corruption is almost everywhere. In fact, we are in fact it is in Nigeria it is not part of us. It is not a culture. Go to primary schools, go to churches. There was I was in one of the Pentecostals. I won't mention the name of the church. The level of fraud that was going on in that church that is scared me. I was frightened. Go to the university. What is being corrupt is just being dishonest. So when you use that word corrupt, I mean it sounds so massive. People cheat every day. Until we stop it. Until we stop it. I don't know the direction we're going to. Primary school self, you know that some teachers that come to school, primary teachers come to school, they will share a goosey to their pupils and playing for them.
Yeah, it's an old tradition, that one. Isn't it?
It is not decent. And when
I'm telling you, that one is an old tradition, old primary school tradition in this country.
The kids, the ones that pew more egusi will come first or second. You get the ones that the more egusi you pay for them. So it's not something that is news. And I mean, I don't know how we're going to address it. I don't know how we're going to stop it, but we just have to stop it. Thank you. Good morning for having me this morning.
Good morning, Charles. Thank you, Charlie. The phone lines are open. You can join the conversation this morning. He's bordering on his psychological problem at this point, isn't it? Good morning.
Notice.
I greet you.
Yeah, we are progressing in corruption.
Oh my goodness.
Are we progressing in corruption? Good morning.
Good morning to you. Welcome. Welcome.
I greet your guest.
Good morning.
He has done good justice to this topic. Many of the topics you brought in. See, when I read about this tax reform, I had to support it.
Okay.
Do you know why?
Tell me.
We hear and we see pictures, videos of alcoholic drinks being destroyed in the north.
Steady.
And those alcoholic drinks are the ones being taxed in the east and the south. End of the day, they still get a share from that money. Hello?
Yes, we're here. We can hear you. Carry on.
Those things you rejected are those things that you share in the revenue at the center. And you collect it. Why can't they say, okay, the revenue that they generated in alcohol, that we don't need it, remove it from our own money? Do they do that? The answer is no. So I support it. If people, how can somebody be generating 200 and something and be getting 40 million? Why should, even if the Bible said that they will collect from those who have, I don't know how to put it, and give to those who have so that they will have more. Is that principle being administered in this revenue sharing formula? If I'm contributing 20 naira in maybe what these people do, what they used to do, contribution. I'm contributing 20 naira. Other person is contributing 5 naira. At the end of the day, do they give me 5 naira? me that is contributing 20 naira, I'll be giving my own 20 naira.
True.
Why the other person that contributed 2 naira will be giving his or her own 25 naira? So if for me, I would have said left government off their hands from all these taxes. Let state control their own revenue, get their own tax. You will see the North. They are just crying now because you collect money from others to establish your business. The money that is being gathered from the North, from the South, then they now give it to you for you to. No. You don't do like that. You don't do like that. Let everyone support this bill. Let us support this bill. This is a bill that will serve both of us. I knew Alun Dume is always chameleon in issues like this when it comes to the North. He will not be outspoken. But when it comes to when the North are being touched, then you see Alun Dume bring out his chameleon nature.
Some people will say that is him actually representing his people.
He's representing the people on the right side. When you want to represent, you represent rightly or wrongly. It depends on the representation he's doing. You can't tell me that when things favor you, you represent well. When it does not favor you, you represent bad.
Also, in their argument, they've argued that they have the most out-of-school children. They have the largest poverty statistic in the country. So they are saying if you people do this, you will increase the poverty in the North, and that you will also increase the number of out-of-school children and the Almajiris in the North. This is the argument of those governments.
Let their political leaders come to the South to know the magic they are using. They should come down to the South to know the magic these people are using to get their own.
It's not that rosy in the South too.
Okay.
So you can. They should come here and learn the magic.
Doc is saying to you that it's not that rosy in the South as well.
I know. But if I think in the South now we cultivate an idea of individual things. We don't look into the government affairs. Like me now, like you now, do you wait for free education? Most of our children goes to private schools. Why they enjoy public school? Most of us, people like us, none of my children is in any public school. We are built on our own. We are very industrialistic. We are built on our own. So they should learn. They should come and learn from us the magic we are performing, and they should follow suit and stop relying on government. Government this, government that, government this, government that. I can honorably tell you that government does not even have any influence or any influence or any progress in my day-to-day activities. They don't. Why should another people be enjoying what I'm not enjoying? I am still crying for. These things should stop. They should look at us, come to us, learn from us, look at what we have been doing over the years. That an Igbo man can go to apprenticeship with a nylon one prices, one shirt, and at the end of the day become a billionaire. They should learn it. If they want, they will come and we will teach them, and not relying on government. I don't rely on government. Mavis don't rely on government. Even their guests there don't rely on government. We are individualistic as we are, and we at the end of the day, it all sounds good for us. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Well, so some people will argue that, it's you people's, how do they say it? That's how you are made. That's your mechanism. We were like government children.
But it's not all that rosy. That's as I remind them. It's not all that rosy in the South. Even when you speak about out-of-school children, you check the statistics. Unfortunately, poverty rate.
Yes.
The first 10, there are two, I would like to mention this, but there are
I believe
there
that
are two southeastern states in the first 10 of the poorest largest number of poor people in the country currently now.
I believe
Southeast
when it
is-
comes to the problems of the Southeast, it's mostly underreported for very obvious reasons. So I believe you. I believe you. I believe you. And very clearly, very clearly, these are happening. But the truth is, all of these problems, we are always able to point them out and, we're able to put pins on them. But the issue is there any hope in sight as to how to help some of these situations?
It's not rocket science. All it needs is the political will. The problem is the kind of political system we run. Before you get there where you can make those critical decisions, you must have compromised yourself along the way. So it's difficult to, unless you have to betray the people that put you there, and before you can do that, you must have, you must be well entrenched, you must have the support of the people, you must have your people in strategic places for you to to move and shake like Paul Kagame or all the strong men we see in the continent. But basically it's the excuse me, it's the political will.
So I'm thinking we have a situation where I'm thinking about the betrayal business, right? I'm thinking to myself, if I had to betray 100 people to not betray 200 million people, I would probably choose the 200 million people and probably let go of these other 100 people, because I probably would be looking at the larger demographic at this point, which is the Nigerian populace. So I'm thinking, is it so impossible to find a man or even a woman who would put the interest of the general public in perspective rather than, the needs of a few individuals?
We've had leaders that really had a strong support. They had a strong base. There was Buhari, there was Obasanjo. We've had such leaders. So they are at best position to say why. I think Obasanjo's hubris was his third term.
This third term situation.
Third term agenda. But even at that, even with the third term, even personally with hindsight, I personally wish the third term succeeded. I don't think the situation would have been this bad if someone like Obasanjo had his third term.
Someone had floated the idea that what if he wanted to come back and probably campaign for presidency again?
No, he's constitutionally bad. He has done his
impossible
10 years. So we need a constitutional
amendment for him too.
And to me, he's too old now.
Well, it was a poll, and unfortunately, or rather fortunately for him, he came out top of that poll because most Nigerians thought that he would yet make...
It's the same thing that made people bring back Buhari, thinking, either way, we are easily swayed by sentiments. The average Nigerian voter is not really sophisticated, I'm sorry to say.
Okay.
We are easily moved by sentiments, tribal, ethnic sentiments. So you don't see someone that to vote for somebody, if you know, I'm a doctor, if you know I'm the best doctor to do this surgery for you, and your life depends on this surgery, you don't need to like me. You want to live. So that's where we should look at putting people in electoral, in a political office. You don't need to like the person. What is the problem do we have? What problem do we have now? Amongst all these men, who is most likely, who has the best capacity to achieve what we all desire? I don't have to like him. But until the average voter starts thinking like that, we'll move anywhere. People will just be playing with our sentiments with religion and ethnicity.
Yes, because now you've said it. What I'm wondering is what could ever happen to detach the average Nigerian mind from these sentiments that you just mentioned? Is there a way? What could ever happen to make a Nigerian select a leader without ethnic considerations, without sentimental considerations, where it's so logical and even selfish, whereby the Nigerian electorate is looking at what's in it for them instead of who the person is? Because it seems we have a whom problem in this country. It's not necessarily what they do, it's who is doing it. So how do we remove that sentiment? Is there a chance?
Yeah, there is, but it's kind of a bit of social engineering,
Okay.
starting both with quality of our education. For instance, people, the average, the Gen Zs and whatever, they don't know much about Nigerian history. When you, unfortunately, people don't read with the onset of internet and whatever. You don't see people. I remember going through some bookshops in Enugu.
Okay.
This old classic I read one time. I just wanted to read it again. Alexander Solzhenitsyn's Gulag Archipelago.
Okay.
And as I was saying it, people were just looking at where is this madman coming out from.
Yes.
I mean, so we don't have that reading culture or whatever. So we need a bit of social engineering. Then our institutions need to get stronger. Let the votes actually count. In many instances, the votes don't really count.
They don't.
In many instances, votes don't really. Let the votes actually count. Then a bit of social engineering. Then we also have to pray to get a charismatic leader that we want to. The irony of it all is that every leader, no matter how bad the leader has been, wants to leave a legacy. There's no leader that doesn't want, when you leave the office, wants to be adulated and admired.
Do they truly care about that?
Yeah, they do. But
They do?
They do.
Because the actions of some of the people we have seen doesn't look like they were doing it to leave something positive.
Power intoxicates. All you need is look around your friend that just got a little political appointment and other power actually intoxicates. So you don't blame them. So I told a top politician, a friend of mine, I told him that I pity politicians in high positions because you are surrounded by sycophants.
Oh dear.
You can't go to market and actually everything is choreographed.
Everybody putting up an
You can
act.
imagine being the governor you want to go to. Even before you reach the market, people know that the governor is coming to the market.
That's right.
It's never real. Or whatever.
Oh my goodness.
So you keep on getting artificial views of whatever. So the only checks and balance you get as somebody in authority are your old friends. If you have that wisdom, people that can still reach your old classmates, your old flatmates, your old people you grew up with in the same neighborhood. Those are people that can still tell you, look, this is that. But the irony, well, most of them, when they get to that position, they detach themselves from those those people. So you don't
have
really
to stay away from the poor when you make money because I mean they will infect you.
And when they get out from that position, you now see them struggling to. Normally, he keeps his face up, and he goes out of his way to greet you when he's no more.
Oh
in
my
that
goodness.
position.
So I like that you've brought in the challenges of the leaders as well, because the truth is every participant in all of these problems also have their own challenges, because in truth is, while we are always saying they are the problem, those people that you mentioned who are doing all that dramatizing around them are also they're also members of the community.
Yeah.
They are members of the citizenry, they are constituents, and they are electorates too. So what I'm wondering is, do we have a deeper moral problem as a nation that needs correcting? Or are we still looking at it from the politician's point of view? Because from what you've said, it just reminded me of the times where presidents are accused of being shielded from, their environments and the things that are happening around them. It makes perfect sense. One can see why that is, But generally, we have seen degeneracy in every part of our nation. It's not just in our politics. You mentioned in schools, in the little parastatals, in the little places, we have seen this inefficiency and mismanagement. So
It's becoming a culture.
what happens? Are we so morally bankrupt? Is it a moral problem that we're now facing?
I don't think it's a moral problem, because that same Nigerian that misbehaves when he travels out, conforms to the environment he or she finds
Yes,
himself or herself. So I don't think the average Nigerian is really bad per se, but we've not really had a leader that will chart a course for the citizens, and all of us will believe in him, like a Lee Kuan Yew. We've not really had that leader. So until we have that kind of leader that will chart a course, will answer that national question for us. As far as I'm concerned, we are not a nation, we're a country, Nigeria, but
we are 64 years
independent. We've not achieved nationhood.
Of, in quote, foreign interference.
Yeah, we're a country, Nigeria. We're a country, Nigeria, but we've not achieved that nationhood. I love Jos Plateau State.
Okay.
Yeah, if I have my way, I love Taraba. I love the scenery in Mambila. I've been to Mambila Plateau.
Okay.
If I have money, I have my way, I'll go and build a mansion in Mambila Plateau and settle there.
Why? Why do you like the place?
The serenity and everything. But if Nigeria is a nation, it shouldn't be a problem for me. I can easily relocate to Mambila Plateau in Taraba State and live there, and I can contest an election in Taraba State. I mean, look at countries that have achieved nationhood. Hillary Clinton was a senator in New York. She just moved to set up an office in New York, but she wasn't from New York. She was from Arkansas. That's how you know countries that have achieved nationhood. The few instances that people like, you saw Senator Bent, that represented Adamawa State. There was a lady senator, Senator Bent.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Binto. Is it Binto?
Senator Bent or Daisy Danjuma.
Yes.
And all this.
The both of them.
They had strong men backing them. It wasn't based on that they came out, that whatever. And even, especially Senator Bent, Turaki Atiku Abubakar had to put his foot down for her to be allowed to.
I remember during the elections and her primaries as well.
So that shows that we've not really achieved that nation. It shouldn't matter where that person was from or whatever, as long as the person has lived their life there.
What will it take for us to get to this nationhood that you speak?
Just like what other countries, what it took for them to get, when everybody believes that the country has something to offer for him. For instance, if as an Igbo man, if my son enters the police or armed forces, I'm thinking, where is this invisible glass ceiling? Will he ever become IG of police? Will he ever become chief of army staff?
Okay.
It's a big deal for why the average northerner is not a big deal for him. So why should it be so? 60-something years after independence. So those are the questions, the uncomfortable questions. As a country, we should sit down and sort out amongst ourselves. So when there's equal opportunity for everybody in this country, irrespective of where you are born or where you are from, that's when we now achieve nationhood.
There is a story that we're still processing, where we gathered information that most agencies in Lagos have taken a turn and a rebranding, because people are trying to note the ethnic changes that happens with the sentiments that are applied in governance. And people are saying that agencies like the EFCC and the NAFDAC and the ICPC and all these government agencies have changed, transformed in the past 1 year, because it is now all Yoruba run. And the Central Bank of Nigeria is also hoping to retire almost 1,000 Northerners and replace them with the Yorubas. So you do have a point where it comes to the sentiments of the electorate, because we saw what this ethnic issue turned into during the elections in 2023.
It's still part of that lack of achieving nationhood. If it doesn't matter if, for instance, I keep using the example of a country that achieved nationhood, like the United States, where we modeled our constitution after. Late President Kennedy appointed his brother Attorney General. His brother was qualified.
Okay.
And there was no furore. There wasn't much over it because he was damn qualified.
He's qualified.
If I have a way, I have a younger brother that is a top lawyer in the United States, and if I appoint him, let's say I have a position and I appoint him, it's going to be a problem. They say, "What's in 1 year now?" But people don't look at, is he qualified?
So
the other,
most times,
I'm coming.
The one is not even qualified.
I'm
Here?
No, they're basically qualified, but they might not be the best.
Okay, they might not be the
They
best.
might not be the best,
Okay,
but they are generally
because we've
qualified.
seen where a senator is late, unfortunately, and the argument is that his wife should come and replace him. You're wondering, is it a family affair? Is it a family business right now?
Just a sentimental, but it works. When what was that Lagos politician that was assassinated? There were moves to co-opt the wife into the gubernatorial race.
Okay.
I think against why is his name escaping me? I think he would have been the governor in place of our current president Tinubu. He was assassinated, and he was very popular. He could have won the election seamlessly.
I need to check any of my family members who probably has political ambitions or who is presently in government. I don't know any presently, but I will find out.
I just remember Funshaw Williams.
Funshaw Williams.
Yeah, Funshaw Williams, when he was assassinated.
Oh yes,
there were moves to co-opt the wife into the.
Oh yeah, but that would have been like some sympathy, condolence visit. Some appeasement. But hey, that's the problem. Is this what our government is? A government of palliative, where we are trying to appease people with governance.
No, some will say
and
political
political positions.
The prerogative to appoint people is with the president, and it's the people he knows, people he's comfortable with, or those he feels that will be loyal to him. So, coming from Lagos State, so naturally, people he knew around Lagos and wherever. But those things won't matter if they deliver.
It won't matter.
It won't matter, especially if they deliver. If they deliver. It's when they don't deliver, people now start saying, what are all these people, Lagos people doing here? If with all these Lagos people, the president appointed, and our economy, everybody can see a trajectory, things are getting better. So, please continue with the Lagos
Carry on. And on that very note, we have to go. But we'll see you again tomorrow morning, High Voltage. Please follow us, like and share. I'm so sorry we can't take more calls. You were listening to myself and Dr. Trudy Emelu. He is a friend of Volt FM, comes around when he can. And please follow us on YouTube, High Voltage News. Like, subscribe, and share. And when you go out there today, please try your best to not be a bad Nigerian, okay? Collectively, we're doing it. So try to be a good person today. You'll be reducing the stress on the country in your own little way. Have a good morning. I am Mavis Atudume.